Frank had just turned 72. For as long as he could remember, his life revolved around work. He had been a construction manager for over 40 years and took great pride in building homes and schools, watching structures rise from nothing. But when he retired at 68, the days started to blend into each other. At first, the free time was a novelty. He played golf, watched TV, and occasionally tinkered with things around the house. But soon, the excitement faded. Frank felt adrift. He often found himself sitting at the kitchen table, staring out the window, wondering what his purpose was now. His wife, Nancy, could see the restlessness in him, but whenever she asked, he would brush it off, saying, "I'm fine, just figuring things out." One morning, as Frank was flipping through the newspaper, an article caught his eye. Local men's group volunteers to build playgrounds for underserved communities. His heart stirred. He missed building things with his hands, missed the satisfaction of creating something that mattered. But then he shook his head. "I'm too old for that kind of work now," he thought. Later that afternoon, while helping Nancy reorganize the garage, Frank found an old toolbox, one he had forgotten about. It was filled with his favorite tools, each one carrying memories of projects completed, buildings constructed, and hours spent perfecting his craft. He held a hammer in his hand and felt a familiar sense of comfort. That night, the article he had read stayed with him. "Maybe I should call," he thought. The next day, with a bit of nervousness, Frank picked up the phone and called the community organizer. A warm voice answered, and after a few minutes of conversation, Frank found himself agreeing to meet the group the following Saturday. He wasn't sure what to expect, but something deep inside told him to give it a shot. When Saturday came, Frank arrived at the project site, a rundown playground in a neighborhood he hadn't visited in years. He saw a group of men and women, some younger, some around his age, all gathered around piles of lumber, tools, and sketches of the new playground. The organizer, a man in his early 50s named Mike, greeted Frank with a big smile. "Glad you could join us, Frank. Heard you've got years of experience, could really use your help." Frank felt a wave of doubt. "I haven't worked on anything like this in years. Don't know how much help I'll be." But as soon as he started working, the rhythm came back to him like second nature. He helped organize the team, suggested a more efficient way to set the foundation, and even taught a few of the younger volunteers how to properly use some tools. As the playground started to take shape, Frank felt something he hadn't felt in years: fulfillment. Over the next few months, Frank became a regular part of the group. They built more playgrounds, repaired old buildings, and even started renovating community centers. Each project gave him a sense of purpose, a reason to get up in the morning with excitement. It wasn't just the work that filled the void in his life. It was the camaraderie, the shared goal of giving back to the community, and the feeling that he was making a difference again. One day, as Frank and the group were putting the finishing touches on a new playground, a little girl from the neighborhood came running over, her eyes wide with excitement. "Is this for us?" she asked, her voice full of wonder. Frank knelt down and smiled. "Yes, it's all for you and your friends. Do you like it?" The girl nodded eagerly. "Thank you. I can't wait to play here." As she ran off to try the new swings, Frank stood up, his chest swelling with pride. He realized in that moment that he wasn't just building playgrounds. He was helping build joy, hope, and community. And it wasn't just the children who were benefiting. He was too. That evening, Frank returned home, exhausted but happy. Nancy noticed the spark in his eyes, a spark that had been missing for a long time. "You look different," she said with a smile. "In a good way." Frank sat down, smiling back at her. "I feel different. It's funny, I thought my best years were behind me, but it turns out I've got plenty left to give." Nancy squeezed his hand. "I always knew that." Frank's story is a reminder that retirement doesn't mean the end of purpose. Sometimes, after a long life of work and routine, it can feel like there's nothing left to contribute. But as Frank discovered, there's always something meaningful to do, whether it's using old skills in new ways or finding entirely new passions. His decision to step out of his comfort zone and join a community project gave him back the sense of purpose he thought he had lost. Life doesn't stop at 70 or 80. It's filled with opportunities to give, grow, and thrive. It's never too late to start a new beginning. Let us tell you another story about one of our friend, Mary. At 70, Mary felt her life had slowed to a crawl. Her days were predictable. Wake up, read, watch TV, and sometimes meet friends for lunch. Once a vibrant woman who loved dancing and organizing neighborhood events, she now felt like time was passing her by. One afternoon, while cleaning out her attic, Mary found an old pair of dancing shoes. They brought back memories of the ballroom classes she and her late husband used to take. Without thinking much, she slipped them on and did a small twirl in her living room. She smiled, feeling a long-lost joy bubble up inside her. That evening, she searched online and found a local dance studio offering beginner classes. She hesitated. "I'm too old for this," she thought, but something inside urged her to give it a try. The next week, Mary walked into the studio, nervous but determined. She wasn't the oldest there, and the instructor was patient and encouraging. Week after week, Mary returned. Soon, her days had a new rhythm, a sense of excitement she hadn't felt in years. By the end of the year, Mary wasn't just attending classes. She was performing in the community's dance showcases, inspiring others her age to join. Rediscovering her passion gave her life a fresh spark, reminding her that no matter how old you are, there's always time to pursue joy. If you're here, chances are you've experienced decades of change, growth, and probably more challenges than you'd like to count. Together, we've worked hard, raised families, built careers, and pursued the milestones life places before us. Now, as we enter the later chapters of our journey, we want to share something we believe is not just important, but essential, especially for those of us who've been part of the system for so long. The message is simple. Do less. It may sound counterintuitive in a world that constantly tells us we need to do more work, more engagement, more productivity. But let's take a moment to step back together. We've spent a lifetime doing more, accomplishing much, and fulfilling countless responsibilities. But now, after all these years, we have to ask ourselves, what truly matters? What is really worth our time? 1. Doing less. The key to true fulfillment. After all the years we've lived, the experiences we've had, and the lessons we've learned, it's clear that our priorities have shifted, haven't they? When we were younger, we were taught that success meant chasing more money, more achievements, more recognition. And we did it. We worked hard, we pushed ourselves, we sacrificed time and energy. But now, looking back, we realize something. Did all that more truly bring us lasting happiness? At this stage, we've gained a deeper understanding. Life isn't just about accumulating, it's about appreciating. The question is no longer, how can I get more, but rather, what do I really need now? Time has become our most precious asset. Every single day is a gift. We can't afford to waste it on things that don't fill our hearts or fuel our souls. So why are we still chasing after the same things? Maybe now is the time to shift gears, to invest our time where it truly matters. When we talk about doing less, it's not about giving up. It's about choosing better. Choosing to spend our energy on things that truly enrich our lives, relationships, health, personal joy. We're not the same people we were 20 or 30 years ago, and our priorities shouldn't be either. We no longer need the noise, the pressure, the endless busyness that we once thought was essential to success. What we really crave now is freedom. Freedom from stress, freedom from commitments that don't serve us, freedom to be fully present in the moments that bring us peace. Think about it. Society often measures success in dollars and accomplishments, but at this stage in life, we understand that money is just a tool. It's not the end game. Sure, it brings security, but once we're secure, more money doesn't mean more happiness. The true wealth is in time. The time we spend with people we love, the time we use to care for ourselves, the time we savor doing what brings us joy. The freedom to wake up and ask, what will bring me peace today, is far more valuable than any paycheck or promotion. Now let's take a step back and imagine this. Someone spends their whole life chasing money, success, recognition, thinking that Someday they'll have enough, and then they'll finally enjoy life. But that someday keeps getting pushed further away. And when they finally get there, they have the money, they have the status, but they realize they lost something far more valuable along the way: time. Time with their children, time with their spouse, time to take care of themselves. That's a realization that hits hard because, unlike money, time is something we can never get back. So let's ask ourselves, what will we do with the time we have now? How will we choose to spend it? Will we continue chasing the same old definitions of success, or will we redefine it for ourselves? Let's be intentional. Let's savor the moments, connect with the people who matter, and spend our time in ways that bring us true fulfillment. We've earned the right to focus on what really matters, because when we look back, it won't be the money or the titles we remember most. It'll be the moments, the laughter, the love. That's where true wealth lies. 2. Reevaluating value. Time over money. In the world we live in, it's so common to measure success by the size of our income or the things we possess. We've dedicated so many years to working, saving, planning for what's to come. But then one day, we wake up and realize that the future we've been planning for has arrived. And the question we face is this: what truly matters at that point? When we reach a stage in life where we've crossed into our 60s, 70s, or beyond, we start to see things in a different light. Is it really about the balance in our bank account, or the assets we've accumulated? More often than not, it's the moments we have left that suddenly feel more precious. It's not about money, but the time we still have. The chance to spend it with family, with friends, to enjoy the laughter of our children or grandchildren, to savor the beauty of a quiet morning, or to take a walk just because we can. Yes, financial security is important. We're not dismissing that. It provides stability and peace of mind. But there comes a point where earning more, accumulating more wealth, doesn't equate to more happiness. If our basic needs are already taken care of, we need to ask ourselves, what will we do with the most valuable asset we still possess, our time? We need to shift our mindset to start seeing time as just as valuable, if not more so, than money. Each hour we spend can't be bought back, no matter how much we're willing to pay. So let's think carefully about how we invest it. Let's give our time to the people and experiences that bring us joy, fulfillment, and peace. Because in the end, the memories we make, the love we share, and the moments we cherish, those are the things that will matter most. Time, once spent, can never be reclaimed. So let's use it wisely, let's treasure it, and let's ensure that when we look back, we feel that we truly lived, not just worked for a future that has already come. 3. Less work, more life. Escaping the pressure. We've often been taught to believe that in order to achieve anything meaningful in life, we must continuously push ourselves to the limit, ignoring the toll it takes on our health, relationships, and overall happiness. But as we step back and reflect, many of us are realizing that this mindset, this endless cycle of work and more work, may not be the answer we were promised. We've spent years, if not decades, prioritizing work above almost everything else. We've believed that if we just keep going, if we can just do a little more, we'll finally arrive at a place of satisfaction. But when we pause and really think about it, how often has that feeling of contentment truly come? Instead, we often find ourselves worn out, burnt out, and disconnected from the very things that make life worth living. Now, for many of us, the moment has come to ask deeper, more meaningful questions. What if there is another way? What if we don't have to constantly push ourselves to the point of exhaustion just to feel like we've achieved something? What if, instead, we choose to prioritize the richness of life over the grind of work? Maybe you've reached a point where you're nearing retirement, or maybe you're simply reconsidering what work means to you and how much of your life you're willing to dedicate to it. Wherever you are on that journey, this is a time of profound opportunity, a time to rewrite the rules and reclaim the life that has always been yours to live. Think about this. What commitments have we been holding on to that no longer serve us? What activities or obligations have become a drain on our energy and joy rather than something that lifts us up? Sometimes we keep doing things out of habit or out of a sense of duty. But when we really look at them, we realize they no longer align with our values or our well-being. This is the perfect time to reassess those things, to shed what is no longer needed, and to make space for what truly matters. For many of us, the answer lies in rediscovering the simple joys we may have pushed aside for too long. Picture waking up in the morning and having the freedom to take a walk in the crisp morning air without rushing to get somewhere. Imagine being able to savor that moment, to feel the breeze on your skin, to hear the birds, and to truly be present in your surroundings. Maybe it's about picking up a hobby that we once loved but haven't touched in years, whether it's painting, gardening, writing, or playing an instrument. Or perhaps it's about finally having the time to immerse ourselves in something completely new, something we've always wanted to try but never had the chance to pursue. And it's not just about individual pursuits either. This stage of life is also about reconnecting with the people we care about. It's about having the time and energy to invest in meaningful relationships, to be fully present with our loved ones, and to make memories that will last a lifetime. Maybe it's about spending more time with family, enjoying long conversations over a leisurely meal, or simply being there for those who matter most to us. The beauty of this chapter is that it's entirely up to us. We've spent so much of our lives working toward goals set by others, whether by society, our careers, or the expectations of those around us. But now we have the freedom to decide what our lives look like moving forward. We can shape our days around the things that bring us joy, fulfillment, and peace. It's a freedom that's been hard-earned through years of dedication and effort, and now it's time to embrace it fully. So as we stand on the threshold of this new phase, let's make a conscious choice to live differently. Let's choose to prioritize what truly matters, whether that's time spent in nature, the pursuit of creative passions, or the deepening of our relationships with others. We don't have to follow the old script that tells us more work is the answer. Instead, we can write a new one where life itself takes center stage, where we are no longer bound by the pressure to always do more, but free to live in a way that feels authentic, balanced, and meaningful. This is our time, our moment to reflect on all we've accomplished and to decide how we want to spend the days ahead. We've been given this opportunity to slow down, to appreciate the richness of life outside of work, and to create a rhythm that suits us. Let's make the most of it. Let's embrace the freedom we've earned and live in a way that nourishes both our souls and our hearts. The choices are ours, and the possibilities are endless. 4. Living on your own terms. Subtract, don't add. When we reach a point in life where we start to look back and reflect, we might realize that much of what we've accumulated, whether it's possessions, commitments, or achievements, hasn't necessarily brought us the deep satisfaction we sought. Society often tells us that to feel fulfilled, we need to keep adding more. More activities, more responsibilities, more goals to chase. But what if, instead of constantly seeking to add, the real key to living on our own terms lies in subtraction? At this stage in life, it's time to ask ourselves some important questions. Of all the things that consume our time and energy, which of them truly enhance our lives, and which have we taken on simply because it's what others expect of us? There's a remarkable sense of freedom in realizing that we don't have to say yes to every opportunity, or to meet every expectation placed upon us. Let's allow ourselves to step back for a moment and consider what it would look like to simplify. What would happen if we made a conscious decision to say no to the things that weigh us down, to the commitments that no longer serve us? By letting go of these unnecessary burdens, we create space to pursue what truly matters to us, space for the experiences and people that make us feel alive, and space for joy. In the end, it's not about doing more. It's about doing what brings us a sense of purpose and fulfillment. This isn't a retreat or a defeat. It's an intentional shift toward living life fully, but in a way that aligns with what we truly value. It's about reclaiming our time, energy, and spirit to invest them in the things that bring us the most meaning. So let's embrace the idea of subtracting what doesn't add to our lives and focus instead on what makes us feel truly alive. 5. The joy of simple pleasures, rediscovering what matters. Often it's not the grand moments or the significant milestones that leave the deepest imprint on our hearts. Instead, it's the quiet, seemingly small experiences that, over time, prove to be the most meaningful. We tend to overlook these simple pleasures in the rush of our daily lives, but they're the ones that give life its richness and depth. Imagine the feeling of sitting in silence with someone you cherish. There's no need for words, no pressure to entertain or impress, just the peaceful understanding of being together. In that moment, nothing else matters, and that quiet connection becomes something truly special. Or picture the comforting ritual of waking up early, the world still soft and quiet, and holding a warm cup of coffee in your hands as you listen to the morning's first birdsong. It's a pause, a gentle, soothing pause, that reminds us how beautiful life can be in its simplicity. As we move through life, especially as we grow older, we begin to see things differently. Our priorities shift. What once seemed so important, the need for more success, more recognition, more possessions, gradually fades in significance. We realize that more is not the key to happiness, despite what society often tells us. Instead, we come to value the idea of less. Less distraction, pulling our attention away from the present moment. Less noise overwhelming our minds, and less pressure to constantly be achieving and acquiring. It's in this space of having less busyness, less stress, that we discover an unexpected richness. We find joy in slowing down, in taking the time to notice the world around us. The small, everyday moments that we might have taken for granted in our younger years start to take on new meaning. A gentle breeze on a warm day, the laughter of a loved one, the feeling of contentment that comes from a job well done. These are the things that truly nourish our souls. Think about how often we overlook these moments in our pursuit of something greater, something bigger. We live in a world that constantly pushes us to want more. More success, more status, more possessions. And yet, as we move forward in life, many of us realize that this relentless pursuit often leaves us feeling empty, not fulfilled. We begin to appreciate that true joy doesn't come from adding more to our lives, but from letting go of what's unnecessary, from simplifying. It's in the quiet moments that we can truly reflect and be grateful for the blessings we already have. We find peace when we embrace the beauty of a simple life, a life where we're not constantly striving for the next big thing, but instead, we're cherishing the here and now. And as we grow older, we learn that life's greatest gifts are not those that can be bought or won, but those that are freely given by nature, by time, and by the people we love. Rediscovering the joy of simple pleasures is not just about making a conscious decision to slow down. It's about truly recognizing that life's true richness lies in the ordinary. It's about realizing that the things that matter most, the things that fill our hearts with contentment and peace, are often the things that money can't buy. So, let's take the time to appreciate the moments of quiet, to savor the time spent with those we love, and to embrace the simple pleasures that, in the end, make life truly meaningful. As we wrap up our discussion on the powerful idea of doing less, let's take a moment to reflect on the freedom that comes with prioritizing what truly matters. This isn't just about reducing our to-do lists, it's about reclaiming our time, our energy, and our joy. We want to hear from you. What resonates with you from today's message? What steps are you considering to embrace a more intentional life? Share your stories and insights in the comments below. Your experiences could inspire others in our community. If you found value in this video, don't keep it to yourself. Like and share it with friends and family who could use a little encouragement to simplify their lives. And be sure to subscribe to our channel for more inspiring content that empowers us all to live more meaningfully. Thank you for being part of this journey with us. Together, let's continue to discover the beauty in doing less and living more.